first of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is time to get into some things to talk about all that is going on with the illustrious, the I always have an opinion, and my
Yeah,
shit will be tight. Miss Lisa
yeah,
R. Durden. How are you doing,
yeah.
sis?
How are you? Girl, I'm trying to hide from these Ronas, girl.
This, the truth about a Rona, let me tell you.
Because black folks, we make it spicy. We call it the Ronas.
The Ronas, yes. The truth about the Ronas.
So
Yeah,
I
it
be
got us
staying
all
home.
on
I be
lockdown.
staying home. I just go get my medication. I got hyperthyroidism. I got 3 months worth of supply. I ain't going back out to the pharmacy for 3 months. We ain't doing
Okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah, please stay. Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely need to stay. Keep it
yeah,
extra local.
exactly.
Yeah. So, well, the last time we talked, we were talking about your father, Mr. Durden. How is he doing?
Want to see if I can get him on here?
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
I'll put my phone in a second, but yeah. So let me just give you a backup. So quickly, my father. I think my father. You know how they say when they make alcohol, they have a fermenting process?
Yes.
You ain't heard it from me, but I think that my father's liquor drinking then fermented his innards.
What?
The fool then recovered. He never, I mean, I'm saying it because he's old. If he was like
Yeah,
40 or 25, I wouldn't
yeah,
be saying this. But I'm like,
yeah,
ain't you supposed to die? Like
yeah.
literally, my father's 81
Hmm.
and he ain't like a spry 81.
Right,
He's 81
right.
and he's got hypertension, he's
Hmm.
got diabetes, and he's
Hmm.
got acid reflux. Girl, it was
He,
rough, it was rough and go for a little while because
right.
he kept getting the shortness of breath. He didn't
Hmm.
get the other stuff. He didn't get the coughing and the fever and all of that. He just got the shortness of breath and he felt a bit dizzy. He kept getting that, but it never got any. It didn't progress to more than that.
Okay.
But I mean, shortness of breath is one of the harsher.
Right,
You can't breathe.
right.
So I don't know if it was just the liquor done fermented his innards, and or at the time that he got coronavirus, they knew a little bit more about it at the time he got it, and they gave him
Right.
like a breathing device, a little small breathing device, that when his numbers went down to a certain thing to breathe in there. I don't know. Child, the fool, he done recovered. He in them streets,
He in the streets? Oh my
girl.
God.
I'm done.
Well, you know what? I mean, that
I,
just shows you he was resilient. He needed to get back, into the swing of his thing. I'm so happy to hear that. I am so happy to hear that. All right, Papa Durden. Just a really quick question. Are there some tips that you could give? Because actually I have older family members now who are fighting coronavirus. And what are some things that you can offer families that are helping folk get better, and you really can't have any contact?
yeah. Well, I think what helped my father, actually, strangely enough, was that he was not in the hospital.
Mhm.
So they, because of racism, the racism helped this time. So, sometimes racism is good for you.
Yeah.
So because they kept kicking his black ass out,
Right.
for the white folks to be in the beds at Livingston, St. Barnabas in Livingston, New Jersey, they're just known for racism. I mean, the receipts are in. I think because he was actually home with us, and
Hmm.
every day my brother went to the apartment. He had a little hazmat suit. My brother works for the city of New York. He works in they get like hazmat suits, the areas he works in. So he had a hazmat suit on. He would bring food. My uh, my nephew, which is his grandson,
Hmm.
helped out. We called every day. I think that helped because I think when people become isolated in the hospital, the not for me. I mean, I ain't lonely ever, but people have the
Right.
loneliness of, I'm lonely or they're scared or what's going to happen. And all those stressors to me accelerates
Hmm.
the issues. So I think that happened to work out lucky for him to be helpful that he was actually home.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then he got food because somebody learn this out there, you guys. I found out, I don't know if it's happening around the country, but I know in Livingston at St. Barnabas Hospital, they starve the coronavirus patients. They don't give you food. They give you liquid food.
Oh my.
They don't give you food, yump, chew food. Why would you be giving a person, especially an old person, giving them liquid food? My father got teeth.
Yeah.
So what was that about? I didn't have that experience, but another guy that works at Dunkin' Donuts, I go through my drive-through, said that happened to his aunt. And she got skinnier and skinnier. They had to go get her out of there. Mm-hmm. So where else are they doing this? Are they doing this in senior citizens homes and those types of things? Beware. Ask, are they eating solid food?
Wow.
My dad was able to maintain, for the most part, his same lifestyle, other than stay your ass in the house.
How
But
how is his respiratory system?
that was well, of course, that was a problem. So that was a breathing issue. So they gave him some little device, and I guess he had to breathe into it, not all day, but when he felt like he was explaining it to me. I didn't go in to see, but he was explaining that they told him, watch your numbers, whatever that means. And if it goes down past something or another, then use the machine. So he wasn't supposed to use it all the time because you want to breathe on your own. But it did help out a little bit when he was using it. And then eventually, I guess because he also was quarantining, eventually it passed. So that worked. But I also found out that Pepsid helps.
Wow. Okay.
Now, my dad, I learned this because I do a lot of research. So I'm kind of piecing things together.
Right.
So at the same time that I got the discharge papers, I'm seeing that in the discharge papers, my father was diagnosed with acid reflux. I'm like, my father ain't got no damn acid reflux. So some kind of way he has acid reflux. I guess that maybe is a condition of COVID. And they gave him this, acid reflux medication, but they call it Pepsid. That's the name brand. But whatever's in that Pepsid, sometimes some of those things help the COVID. So don't get me into the medical part, but look it up. So I'm gonna keep shaking. So I did hear on the news, it was interesting, like about 3 or 4 days after my father got out, and I saw that on the news. I said, so they probably discovered to start using some of that medication, even though it's not indicated for that. They discovered that this medication that helped this actually helped some other things.
Oh, interesting.
That it wasn't indicated for. So how and all that, look it up. I don't know the how, but they said that there's some benefits to Pepsid in COVID patients.
So I know that in our conversation, you talked about his primary doctor, caregiver, Dr. Patel, right? I was wondering, has he switched doctors? Is that what you're going to do? Have you had a conversation with the father or the son? Because there was like a father and a son. And
girl, when I found out the son was his actual father, when I found out the son was his actual doctor, I chased him down. I ain't heard back from him yet. But I understand that my father, after he recovered for about 3 weeks, he went to the doctor about 2 Wednesdays ago. I don't know if he got tested again, or you're supposed to get tested again, because people have now discovered. The big question is, can you get it again?
Right.
There's things tossed around where, they said there's an immunity possibly where you may be able to get it again, but not get sick with the symptoms again. Then there's some conversation about, well, you may not be able to get it again, but they don't know for sure. Then there's also conversation about, even when you're home for 2 weeks and you are quarantined, that it's not fully, passed through, and you could still, test positive for it. I mean, there's all this conversation. So I don't know what that doctor visit was like, but I'm working on getting him another physician. My best friend Wanaki has a female doctor who's in West Orange, Black doctor. And yes, I'm saying this on this page. I look for Black doctors. I'm Black. I need cultural competence. So I'm working on it now, because I think I want to know if her doctor takes Medicare. A lot of doctors don't take Medicaid, but I think they take Medicare. So, and that doctor's I think they both are in the same area, so you can kind of go to her. I like her.
Right. To totally understand. I mean, when you're dealing with, right now what we're going through in the United States, where we're taking hits in a healthcare global pandemic crisis, and we're still getting killed by police. You want to surround yourself with people you think that will have, a little bit of your interest at heart, especially if you're paying them. I mean, this is kind of bizarre, right?
It's kind of bizarre. So I wanted to raise an issue about people, saying things and trying to compare things to COVID. That's reckless. It's one thing if you're a lay person and you're doing it, bad enough. But we really have to watch what comes out of our mouths when people respect us as journalists, physicians, experts, those kinds of things. Even though I'm not a medical professional, if I'm talking about something that relates to medicine, or for that matter, any topic, I do my research. And I only share the information that I've researched. And if I have something, like I said, well, my father took they did something with the Pepsid. I know that it's beneficial to it, but look up the rest. So you know that the things I'm saying, right, Pepsid, they're saying there's some benefits, look the rest up. How would I sound telling you, and here are the details of the benefits? I'm not a physician. So I'm going to give you some of the ball and you run with it. So
Right.
Don Lemon, which I typically like, but I was a little bit taken aback by Don Lemon.
Mm.
I'm not sure what game he was playing, but Don Lemon needed to check himself. So on one of his shows the other night, here was the quote. He said, and there was a lower third, like a little crawl there. Is he has a segment called Don's Take. So Don's take is there are two deadly viruses that are killing Americans: COVID-19 and racism. So you're basically saying that they're synonymous with each other. You're saying that they're inclusive. So
That's a good point.
No, racism is not like a virus, bonehead. I mean Don Lemon, not her. To even attempt to compare the two is a slap in the face of the Black community.
Oh.
It's a slap in our face. It's very simplistic and it's reckless. What is Don Lemon thinking as a journalist doing that? Who are you kowtowing to? I don't normally see him do that. I don't watch CNN that much because I don't watch mainstream media. I like Our Republic, independent media.
Right. Thank you.
What I don't know if he was desperate for clickbait. I don't know what he was doing, but that phrase he crafted was disrespectful at best.
Mm.
So let me just tell you why that's not correct. And you need to watch your lips, homie. I don't mean her, I mean Don. Unlike COVID-19, you cannot give white supremacists a vaccine to prevent their racism, nor can you write a prescription to treat the institutionalized racism that permeates throughout this country. So you're an idiot, Don. I don't normally call names, but today, I like Don. Don, I like you normally, but today you're an idiot. I still love you though. No shade. I mean, I do dumb things sometimes too. But Don, no, you're on a different platform. So those things right there. So no, COVID, at some point we'll have a vaccine. At some point we'll have a prescription. At some point you can get a test to determine beforehand, do you have the antibodies? At some point we can get tested, are you presenting with symptoms and do you have COVID? There's no test for racism. There's no prescription for racism. There's no way to prevent it. There's no preventative method called the vaccine against racism. So you need to shut the cluck up, Don, on that. You need to stop your reckless because that's a problem. People trust you. Don't try to minimize racism and compare it to COVID. Where are you? Have you been smoking?
Me being international, I'm seeing what, America is being termed as the superpower is sick. And it's sick, you know what I mean? Because of all of the institutional issues that it, but a lot of it is the healthcare system is bad, the leadership.
You're saying COVID didn't open Pandora's box, it opened Pandora's ass.
Yes.
No,
and
we've been new.
Right. And so I think that I've just been thinking about what this is what I was just actually speaking to, because I had a really good conversation with somebody yesterday, Brandon Boland, who I interviewed. This is a guy on the West Coast who's reporting it. And I said, as much as we talk about how many people are dying from COVID-19, we really need to, as Black people, start addressing COVID-related deaths that are happening during this time that are not considered, direct deaths. But this goes just into all of the things that, we've been experiencing. And I think that Don Lemon, and let me not speak for him. I'm going to step away and I'm going to step away.
Here's my thing. So in the shot at the bottom, they have the crawl. It says it. So he said 2 deadly viruses are killing Americans, and you're listing them. No.
Yeah. And you know what it is? And there is, in my opinion, this thing when we're dealing about structural racism, things that have been happening for so long, this kind of need to attach it onto something that white people can feel like they're quote unquote a part of. And I understand what you're saying. You understand what you're saying.
That part,
Right. And,
that, that,
it's like some
not
type
doing
of
that.
solidarity,
Right.
a moment of solidarity. And as we see, there's very conditional things
Mhm.
with what's going on. This
Yeah.
solidarity is very conditional.
Mhm.
Um,
I just
eh,
want to put that out there in the event that your audience, again, we don't have enough black media out there. Although he's a black man, he's on a white platform.
right,
So we're hungry, and I'm on a white platform. I go to Chasing News, but I try to do my part. I'm not going. I don't think they're telling him what to say. I don't get told what to say on Chasing News. Um, but however, Chasing News is not live. They get to edit what I say. So
hmm
that's
hmm
why that's why I
right,
make sure I talk in talking points. So you
right,
have nothing to edit with. It's all tight. It's all stacked with the best shit.
right,
So you can't pull out of it to make the narrative what you want.
right,
So now in his case, I think his show comes on live and then they rerun it whenever they rerun
right,
it. The point is, a lot of blacks trust him. I trust him. I like him. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater because you made a blur.
right,
But whenever
right,
you're a talker, you're gonna comedians, talk show
right.
hosts. When you're a talker, you're
Yeah.
going to flub up. So I just wanted to clarify that. I still love Don Lemon. He's all good with me.
What's going on in Newark or New Jersey and
Right,
just the New York City area, since that is the hot spot of the world?
right. So I think there's this groundswell of pressure
Mm.
by those at the bottom to tell those at the top, you ain't going to tell me what to do. Let me out of prison. And some of them have used the term prison,
Mhm.
slavery. White folks said it's like slavery. Nah, bitch, you don't know what slavery is like. You need to calm the hell down with that one.
Mhm.
But all these things. So that's happening in Jersey too. It's happening in New York. It's not just happening in Texas and Georgia. It's happening pretty much in the states.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much everywhere. It's just some places are more robust than us. Like the southern states they go to the Capitol,
Mhm.
in with machine guns and say,
Mhm.
we leaving our house. So so I'll just say in my area. So it's happening here in the States, but more importantly, it's happening in other places in different ways, but the same pressure.
Mhm.
So, Governor Murphy in New Jersey saying, okay, we're gonna open up the beach on Memorial Day, but just don't, do social distancing. And then of course, you know what happened. People out there dropping it, twirling it, twerking it,
Mhm.
and TikToking it, and they ain't doing no social they ain't doing no damn social distancing. We knew that was gonna happen.
Right.
They want to be reelected. What Corona was here in March and it's here in May.
Right.
What's the difference now?
Right.
That means your whole point of the social distancing is bullshit. Because while we shouldn't be together last month is why we shouldn't be together this month.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
10
Mhm.
people at a time, 40, it don't matter. So people wild out. New York, I'm just giving a couple of spot examples.
Right.
So, Andrew Cuomo opened up the parks, because he saw in the beginning, he
Mhm.
said, if you go to the park, just social distance. So people were just wilding out, having play dates with their friends, chilling out the parks. So they stopped the parks for a while, for about a month. He thought, okay, unleash it again. People having a fit. He unleashed it. People in the park masking in the warmth and the glow, and they out there with their bikinis and just in clusters and in groups and just ain't doing none of the stuff that's going to protect people. So this has been happening literally like this week, last week, and he goes on his daily, they all have the little daily, press conferences or whatever. And they said the same thing they said this week that they said last week, that they said last month. Y'all got a social distance. You got to wear masks. They ain't doing it.
Mm.
So you keep on letting them out and you open the restaurants, but you can do takeout. We're going to we're doing it in phases. So I feel like they're just going to let people go back in phases so they can act like they thought about this. But there's nothing to think about. Just let everybody out because this phase ain't going to mean nothing. Because it's still coronavirus out here and you have no prescription for a treatment plan. There's no drug to treat it. No, I mean, they're trying different drugs as, attempts to see if this drug has any efficacy in it, but it's not indicated for coronavirus. You don't have any mass testing that is a mass that we all can get a test if we want to test is bullshit. And then the testing we have is not accurate, even still now. And you don't have no vaccine, which I don't mess with vaccines, but some folks mess with vaccines. So what you let us out for? What changed now?
Mhm. Mhm.
They want to get reelected again. So it's happening in Jersey, New York, surrounding Connecticut, surrounding cities. It's happening everywhere.
So have the numbers spiked? Has there been a spike since people have been out?
Yeah, but they lied about it. And Georgia got busted. When the governor in Georgia, I can respect the governor in Georgia. He didn't play the game of slowly roll the old person down the hill and then drop him over the hill. He just shot the person in the head and called it a day. So he opened up, everything's open, and so when it opened, they're wondering, people are now starting to ask, or they began to ask, well, how the numbers? They started to lie about the numbers and cook the books, and they got busted, and the numbers got higher. So at first, they oh no, we didn't see any spike, and we didn't see any this, and they were reporting that, and now they're saying, oh, that was a mistake. No, you just lied. You lied on the data.
So what about
the Georgia mayor said the data was a lie. Atlanta, Georgia mayor.
So what about in Jersey and New York City?
Well, we haven't seen the data since last weekend, because remember last week so here they're trying to play open up small, open up slowly. So they're not doing the whole trigger pulling thing. Right. So they did open up some of the beaches for Memorial Day. I think this week they're going to start opening up some of the stores and different things, and do it safely, whatever the hell that means. There's no such thing as safely. So now we're going to be seeing, I guess, going forward as they open what the data looks like. But I haven't heard anything yet. And then, by the way, I'm tired of looking at those people. I want to watch The View. I want to see your face on TV right now.
The thing is that just further pushes this idea of a mandated vaccine, which
now that's when you won't see me go to prison. And I'll tell everybody, I might not be too cute for LL Cool J, but I'm too cute for prison. We don't do prison, bitch. But for this, you got to lock my black ass up.
Yeah.
I am not being forced. Now, let me just, a caveat. Now, I'm back in school getting my master's.
Right.
Unfortunately, those bitch ass hoes at Rutgers didn't accept me in that weak ass MFA program at Rutgers in Newark, which is free. I applied 2 years in a row. You wrote the recommendation. I got turned down.
Right.
But since New York is all about the best, I got accepted in the top program in New York, the School of Visual Arts. But unfortunately, I think about a year or two, they made a mandate that anybody going to school, even college in New York, has to take a measles and mumps vaccine, because it was so-called
like the MMR, measles, mumps,
MMR, something like that. Yeah,
rubella. Yeah,
because it was some kind of they had a rash. There was no rash of that bullshit. They want people to make money in the pharmaceutical companies. But nevertheless, for that reason, I, reluctantly did it. And I got sick in 5 seconds. I went to a pharmacy and got I went to the doctor, got the paper, and went to a pharmacy. I got sick in 5 seconds.
Wow.
I had to take 3 rounds of it. Got sick right away. Scratchy throat, different stuff. Okay. But that was my choice. Because I'm choosing to do it for me to go to school. That's my choice.
Right.
But if you tell me that you're going to make me take that vaccine, or else, ... I'll deal with the or else. And you know what they do. And they're for Black folks who don't do the or else, if you don't mask, if you don't social distance, and you don't take vaccines, we get busted in the head and dragged to the police department.
Right.
Folks, they hand them a mask.
Right.
And I'm not even doing contact tracing, bitches. Don't trace shit. Because first of all, I didn't listen to Snowden. It's bad enough. Snowden already told. You remember Snowden? Snowden said, when you buy a phone in the box, they can hear you talking. In the box, not turned on, brand new. So I know they hear everything going on. So you're already tracing me anyway.
Right.
But I'm not going to give you a gun to shoot me with. No, you're not going to trace. If I trusted America to treat me fairly, I wouldn't mind, because I'm not doing nothing wrong anyway. But so you're going to use that tracing. See how they use the mask to criminalize us? What seemed to be seemingly harmless, wear a mask, socially distance. We're getting busted with a head full. But I'm damn sure not socially distancing. And I advise anybody Black watching this interview on this platform, I wouldn't do no contact tracing. That's out.
I mean, it is, because it's my media studies, brain kicked in. I said, this is the best scam they have come up with in terms of a hyper surveillance, hyper data mining, where they have your movements, but they have your DNA, they have, your DNA sequences, before this, several months, I think this was in the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, Ancestry.com came out and said that Homeland Security requested all of their information from the clients who did the swipe. They refused. The Homeland Security doesn't have to worry about that anymore. They have the best thing smoking. That is with contact tracing.
First of all, I did research on them. They've been selling that information. They've been selling data.
Oh yeah.
They've been selling your data. They got busted, and that's what they're trying to say. We don't do that, but you've been doing it, but you got busted.
Right. But now, in the name of, coronavirus, they're collecting everything. You know what I mean? They, you know, they probably want to know what panties you're wearing.
Well, if you watch the show, you're gonna find out that she don't edit it out. They black and they clean. That's all that matters.
But yeah, so yeah, so
pimples in my ass ain't
right.
so bad. But
Yeah.
so that is problematic. Again, in theory, if this country wasn't what it was, I would say, yeah, great. But you're not trustworthy. So this country's full of shit. Therefore, I'm not all in. If it was a country where you believe that they had your best interests at heart and all of that, then I would say, yeah. I mean, even when there was a big debate about getting the when you go across the bridge and you have the little easy pass and stuff when it first came out, and a lot of folks were talking about that easy pass back in the late 80s, early 90s. The easy pass, and a lot of blacks didn't want to get it. I did get the easy pass, but I did not discount what they were saying. I know that that stuff pings off of towers. I'm aware that they can trace me if they want. Now, I'm not doing anything for you want to trace, so I'm not a threat. But if I said something effed up or something, they're gonna find me. So I thought of my convenience, but be real clear. I'm aware of what the potential is of that kind of tracing. We already have contact tracing in different ways. That's another kind of contact tracing. Your phone pings off of towers. That's what these dumbass murderers. You bought a phone, ping, ping, ping. I was home, and you over at the girl's house killing her. And they're gonna get all the. They're gonna have the phone company, give all the information to them. They're gonna find you a pinging from a tower somewhere by the girl's house. You'd have murdered her.
And I, you know, in conversation with several people, when I talk about, me being against mandatory vaccines in any way, shape, or form, they're like, "Oh, you're one of those anti-vaxxers," and I said, "No, because vaccines have been in existence for thousands of years. It is an age-old practice. What they're doing with these vaccines now, I'm totally against. I don't want to have, like just like you, just when I went to Africa, I hope this doctor has retired, but I had to get all these, it was like about 7 shots in order to go to West Africa. And at that time I was a strict vegan. I was very much on, a certain type of health trajectory. Went to the doctor and said, I don't even want to get these. I don't even believe in vaccines. And he said, "Oh, I'm so happy. You're the first Black person who has been open. I don't take vaccines, and I really don't recommend vaccines. I go to Africa all the time." He gave me a list of things to do. And he said, "You will not get sick." And I did not get sick. And we talked about this whole conversation. Yeah. The whole conversation is that you've got to build your immune system up strong enough to, if anything were to happen, it would naturally ward it off, 1. And then 2, he said, you've got to change your diet. You have got to remove all sweets out of there, because that's what mosquitoes and a lot of the bugs are attracted to, is this very sweet American diet. And I'm telling you, people were taking malaria pills and passing, all these doctors passing out and everything. And I was running through that bush, butt booty ass naked. And then,
yes, honey. I've not been to Africa, but I'm going to Ethiopia probably twice this year for my senior thesis.
Really?
Yeah, my brother. I'm doing a film about my brother. My brother's an Ethiopian Orthodox priest.
What?
Yeah, although he's here. They have their conference in Ethiopia every year, so I'm going to go in January just to shoot around Ethiopia, so I don't have to worry about that when I go to the conference. I can just focus on the conference.
That's
so I don't know
what
they do for Ethiopia, but maybe because it's Ethiopia, they kind of light-skinned it, so they don't. I don't know if they make them do malaria shots, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't need it when you go to South Africa either. In South Africa, because I mean, there's places just like LA, New York. So everybody has been in this serious mind space or this emotional state about all of it's not necessarily about the list of police killings that have come up. And it's not just the police killings. It is, like you said, the over policing if you wear a mask and you don't wear a mask, the over policing if you break curfew, the over policing in certain neighborhoods, and treating people.
The train stations.
Yeah. Yes. See, I didn't know. I'm out of the area. All of that. That's just the daily reality. And then you have these very brutal murders that are taking place. Breonna Taylor, Sean Reed, Ahmaud Arbery, and now the latest, George Floyd. I don't even know where to begin. There's just been so much discussion about it. What are your thoughts on all of this right now?
Well, for Black people, none of this is new. this is just another excuse. It's just like when the so-called Muslims, blew up the World Trade Center. So that gave you an excuse to racially profile when you've been racially profiled.
Right.
Maybe not to Muslims, but Black folks have been racially profiled.
Right.
Everywhere we go, in the supermarket, airports, we know this. So we're used to people saying, you didn't do that, so I'm gonna bust you in the head. So they're just saying it's the COVID now. So you bust me in the head, I'm gonna use a juxtaposition. Khalif Browder, you stole a backpack. I'm gonna take you to Rikers and put you in jail for a backpack that he never stole, first of all, and you had no proof he stole it. Nobody specifically said he stole it, but you put a child in prison in Rikers with grown-ass men for a $20 backpack that you claim he stole. Let's say he did steal it. You put a child in prison for a $20 backpack with a $900 bail bond, which is worth more than the backpack. And we all know what happened. He killed himself down the road because he couldn't handle what his experience had been. He was out by that time, but he went back in for something else. So first it's the backpack. Now it's the mask. Same difference. It's the different box, same contents inside. So, example, I'm trying to get the date for the interview. The young lady who was in the train station in New York about a week ago, Kalima Rosier. I think I'm saying it right. Rozier. She's in the train station with her child, her daughter, with her mask down here. So maybe she was wearing it, but she can't breathe. When I go to ShopRite with the damn mask on, I'm in there not even an hour. I'm like, oh Lord, get in the car, take the mask off, the blue one.
Right.
I don't know what kind of condition she has. So when she went in there, instead of the cops, cops are down there playing Mr. Big Stuff. Instead of them saying, young lady, make sure you pull your mask up. Okay, before you get into, thank you. Something as simple as that. They accost her. Put your mask on. Whoa, am I committing a crime, nigga? So instead, and then she was like, well, but don't put your hands on me. Then it became a thing. They yoked her up. They knocked her to the ground. They dragged her daughters right there. And what was worse than the dragging, the daughter didn't even say anything. So it tells you what she's used to saying. The daughter didn't even scream and say, mommy. She never said a word. That tells you what this girl has experienced. Because the average child would have freaked the fuck out.
Right.
So this is her. She's a lawyer now. But we have plenty of receipts. And you can put this in there when you put the clip together. There's loads of receipts of white folks in Central Park, cops patrolling, handing out masks. You got supplies in the car? So again, this is nothing different. Different day, same bullshit.
Oh yeah, and it's international.
Of course.
And the sentiment has been like, when is this gonna stop? We've exhausted everything. Like, what should be done?
See, here's the thing, and I'm gonna sound a little bit unpolitically correct, and that's what I do anyway. Now, this is not a one note thing. This is the kind of you're gathering all your ducks in a row. There's no when is this going to stop, because first we have to start at the when you say structural racism, who controls structures? Tell me who controls structures.
Well, structures are designed. I feel like I'm in class now. Structures are designed to where actually nobody controls them.
But no, who designs the structures?
Oh, well, in the United States, the people that design the structures are those in power who have the resources, and they want to maintain the resources.
Okay, so that's where we got to start. Let's start with even our Black politicians. Let's start there, because y'all said y'all had our backs. Let's start with the bottom line. We, in the age of 2020, have loads of people who are in politics that look like us now, from the local level up. We have loads of Black mayors in Black cities. We have loads of council people all over the place. We have loads of senators all over the place, Black. We have loads of Congress people, and we have some people in Congress who've been in since 1974, Auntie Maxine, Clyburn, John Lewis, all y'all mofos. And we got some ones who are seasoned, like Kamala Harris, and even the squad. You got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You got Rashida Tlaib. You got Ilhan Omar. You got Ayanna Pressley. So you have a whole lot of Black folks in these spaces and places. Now, why do you think that since 1974, I'm gonna say since Maxine's been there, and you had what's that man with the conch from Harlem? I think he retired.
Ray
Rangel. Like the Charlie Rangel.
Yep.
Charlie Rangel was in Congressman Payne's from New Jersey. These are legacy people. Congressman Payne's father was there. Then he became whatever. So let's just deal with the Black people. You won't tell me, Auntie Maxine, that All y'all been there between 74, I'm gonna say between 74 and 2005. We've had a lot of y'all in there a long time.
Right.
We still poor. We still ain't got health care. We still ain't got infrastructure for our roads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We still ain't got good education. We still don't have all this stuff. So what policies are you passing? Even some of those so-called white liberals, the good old white folks, like, you know, Elizabeth Warren and some of those people that claim they care. What all these years of passing these policies that you claim you care, and all we had loads of Democratic presidents.
Right.
We still got the prison industrial complex from a Democratic president. Okay, so here's where we need to begin. Anybody talking about that? And here's how we can make this work. Don't vote for them anymore. Make them know if we don't get this agenda, like what Puffy said, he's tired of it now. I'm glad Puffy stepping up. People dragged him for filth on social media. I was like, power to the people, Puffy. They dragged him for filth.
Pay your artist, Puffy.
Now this is the new Puffy. Now Puffy got to go back and what he got to go back and resurrect that. He got to atone.
He has some serious. He has to atone for the artists he paid and the women he beat.
Yeah, he did. That's a fact.
That is a fact.
That's a fact. So what we have to do is not only hold them accountable, stop giving away the milk and think they're gonna buy the cow.
Right.
Don't let them get in there and then say, "Can I get a piece of bread?"
Right.
No.
Right.
You ain't getting a piece of bread. So we have to start with, and how we're gonna do it. If we have to support independent people, don't keep saying, "But we just got two parties. We got loads of parties." Do you vote outside that party? Lisa Durden has always voted independent party. I voted for. You're a little too young to know her. In 1988 in Harlem, I voted. They had something called the Alliance Party, and she ran for president. Lenore Fulani.
Oh, I remember her.
Look it up, Lenore Fulani.
Yeah, no. I remember her.
Before I was a conscious Negro. When I say Negro, N-E-E-D, Negro. Before I was a conscious Negro, I had good sense to know this black lady's doing something. Let me get her in there. I didn't think about. I was a child then, 23 or something. But I knew instinctively this makes sense. Let me get her in there. It didn't win, so I don't subscribe to stupidity like a vote for Lenore Fulani is a vote for the wrong person. No, a vote for Lenore Fulani is a vote for Lenore Fulani. So we need to know that the numbers are there. Move your numbers to the Lenore Fulanis, and they won't win. And they'll know, oh snap, I took advantage of them. Now I'm out. Fire them. Your vote is firing them.
So so to say vote for somebody that has your interests and force these establishment or what do you call these establishment Black Democrats to actually do something.
I'm all of them, but I'm holding Black Democrats more responsible. But all of them.
Right. What are some fundamental things that need to be done in order to shift the minds of Black people, to not do that? I still am a registered voter in Maxine Waters' district.
Oh, in California. Okay.
In California. I've always, stepped outside of being independent as a registered voter.
Angela Davis votes. Here's a note. Angela Davis voted for a Democrat for the first time when Obama ran.
When Obama ran.
She's so independent, and Mark Lamont Hill votes Green Party all the time as well.
Okay. Then when I got more educated and understanding voting, and when I looked, I said, this woman, I think a pimp on Figueroa in LA has more voting power or has passed more policies through selling, you know what I'm saying?
Then you're going to sell it gin and juice.
Yeah, selling gin and juice. Yeah, we'll say that.
Because I'll give you an example.
Then Maxine Waters.
Here's an example in the coronavirus campaign. I followed the ball all the time. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's a child. She's a child. I could be her mother plus some. I'm 56. She's 29 or something like that. People don't follow the ball. That first wave of money that they let the banks steal, but they said we didn't know where it was going. That big chunk of stimulus money that the banks swooped down and the Shake Shacks and all them swooped down and took the money.
Right.
Now they were about to just say, well, and it ran out, and they said let's replenish it. And so some of the Democrats stood up and said, no, we just ain't gonna replenish. We got to earmark stuff and do some stuff. We've got some demands for this next wave of $485 million. So that sounds cute for a minute. We got demands. So the Democrats did do that. you know, the Maxine Waterses and the Pelosi's and the Warrens. But here's what had happened was the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was the only Democrat that held out and didn't sign this bill that they last did on the 22nd of March or 22nd of April, the 12th of April. I'm mixing dates, but circa whatever. Look it up. When they had the Congress meeting in Congress. She was the only one that held out because in that new package of cash, the new cash grab, they still left out the three things that pissed us off the first time. Mom and pop businesses was left out. Rents and mortgages were not a part of that bill to make sure you earmark that money to fund these items. And she said, until you do, I will not be a party to it. And she's the only one that didn't sign that. Now, that doesn't mean a lot because she was outnumbered, but the point is not that. The point is she did her part.
That's right.
So everybody out there, if you're listening, if you know the person in your district, do not vote for them again. The only person who should be reelected again is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
And I think that she's positioning herself to actually break off and do and form a whole other wing or identity that is
bringing folks in.
Yeah, that is so separate from what it is, because she even put Bernie Sanders on ice. She was like, I'm good. I'm good, you know. So that is definitely somebody, that is definitely somebody to watch.
Let's look at the presidential election. You're going to tell me that Bernie, you dropped out of the primary? You don't want us to just see where the vote takes you? You gave the position to the man? You ain't nothing but trash. I'm a former track runner. I don't drop out of races. I have fallen running hurdles and bust my ass at Howard University's track. I got up, I came in last place. I kept running. You have a sense of pride. So what happened? You got paid? I don't know what that is.
Well, there was just some information that I saw actually this past week where he's endorsing candidates, but in the fine print, some of the money is actually going to go to his Bernie Sanders campaign. People are like, well, what is he running for? He's not running for, and that's another thing. That's something that I learned in Newark, in terms of a lot of people run not to win, but they run in order to, get money from the actual thing, which is what I think Donald Trump did. Donald Trump was running so he could come up financially. He didn't think he was going to win.
When you're the leader of the free world, people don't realize that the position of the job of the president of the United States is the biggest job in the world. Bigger than Prime Minister of Canada, bigger than Prince of so-and-so. You're the leader of the free world. That's the phrase. So there are some real nice perks that come with it.
I spoke with a cattle rancher. His name is Corey Lee, and he was part of one of the major lawsuits against the USDA and the United States government for discrimination. He takes the position, and he was like the second person, and this is something that Roland Martin talks about a lot, is you voting in a Democratic elected or a Democratic president positions them to put judges in place who will then impact decisions that are made on the local, the state level. The state level. If you vote and it's not for who more numerically would be more favored, if it's not the GOP, is that counterintuitive to you and your political agency?
Once again, the receipts are here. How many years have we had Democratic presidents? We have Supreme Court justices there. Have things changed for Black people? I'm asking.
Oh, you asking? Oh, I thought it was a rhetorical question.
Okay, right. So we've had Thurgood Marshall. We've had we had a Black president. He put one person there. You're not going to always be able to put Democratic. These jobs are for life. They got to die first. So all these years we've had power to vote this and power to vote that, but it didn't change the plight of Black people, no matter who was there. It never has. So stop giving them their vote. These are different times. We have social media now. Okay, let's also talk about, so now, people who voted for Hillary Clinton last time, did she win? Did your vote count? Do you feel like you wasted your vote?
Oh, I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. So.
No, I'm saying whoever you are.
Yeah.
So whenever I vote for somebody, I'm a vote for my interests.
Right.
And I hope that I can't see the Lisa Durtons. I hope there's millions of us out there that feel the same way I do. And that's how you change. Let's get another juxtaposition. Long before Blacks had the right to read, that's only a little bit over 50 years ago, or do anything, we didn't even hold offices. There was a time in this country where Blacks thought we could do it. We lost every office. The first time a Black person ran for an office against a white person, white folks said, you ain't getting in here, nigga. We still got in offices. We had to start somewhere to vote people in who were long shots. And many times we lost for decades and decades. But we kept on trying to change the tide. Where is that?
Right. And you know, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because in me thinking about, you know, how to represent what the quote, that term, that power of the vote is, I said it must be something much more than you can get a president elected, because a lot of people are like, that doesn't motivate them. And I said, we need to in some way kind of reframe this and say exactly what it is. Like for me, like when I vote, I do research. I look up stuff. I look up interests. You know, I really get into it. And it's more than just casting a ballot. It gets me invigorated in understanding what is going on around me. But that's for me. Yeah. So how do we get, because there are a lot of people who don't vote, or, you know, are like Easter, Christmas voters, you know what I mean? That just come out, like so many people came out for Obama and then they dropped off.
I'm gonna put it this way. Having sex, let me rephrase it. Having a child, if you do it naturally, is the byproduct of sex. That's how you have a child. We can do turkey bases and other things. So you didn't achieve anything amazing because you screwed and made a baby. Dogs do it, birds do it, all human beings, life does it.
Right.
You didn't achieve nothing.
Right.
There was no skill there.
Right.
So if you want to excite me to have sex with you, you got to come knocking on my door like LL Cool J. Naked.
And greasy.
I'll grease them down. Just be naked. Lost up in this piece. What the hell you talking about? What the hell? Okay, so you have to excite me. Let me read a quote. I ain't got to excite you, LL Cool J. You got to excite me. Let me get my quotes together, because I'm not playing these reindeer games with people. We have to stop putting the burden on Black voters to show up for Democrats. Put the burden on Democrats to show up for Black voters.
Right. Or just Black people in general.
You could take Black out and just say voters, and you can juxtapose race or not.
Right.
You put women in there.
Right.
So stop putting the burden on voters to show up for you, politician. I'm putting the burden on you to show up for me. And how I look at that is, in essence, saying, you must earn my vote. You must court me. You must excite me to vote for you. Because I'm here to tell you, people have to understand the political process. They didn't understand nothing when Obama ran. People had on scarves, they had on booty shorts, they had on slippers, they were toothless, they were educated, they came out of prison, they were hoes, they were pimps. They were mamas, they were daddies, they were illiterates. They knew the vote. And just the optics alone, the sea of people alone told you the impact.
Right.
So if you knew that then, without knowing the political process, because the right to vote is to be a certain age and be an American. They don't say you must qualify to be knowledgeable about the process. That's your job to be knowledgeable. I'm voting for you to do the job for me. You be knowledgeable, bitch.
Right.
Stop trying to make it us. Don't make it us. You be knowledgeable. The one I voted for. That's what I'm putting you in the job for. You know it.
Yeah, you know, this whole, for the last, since Hillary Clinton lost, Black people have been the ones that have been the detriment of the Democratic Party. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, hold up for a
No,
minute.
but we're not.
We are the ones that can make and break elections, right?
Correct.
But then you are consistently and continually dogging us out. You know what I mean? And using language that to me that pathologizes, you know, how we use our political agency and power, right? Or our voting agency. I'm
Correct.
like, that's,
Like Joe Biden felt right comfortable
oh,
telling a Black man on his show, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now,
And
people want
I mean, it was in such, and let me tell you, I am, you know, it's a very, this is crazy times, you know, that Charlemagne, who maybe about a couple of years ago consistently, you know, was disgusting towards women and did all this fuckery and fuck shit, you know, when he interviewed people, now becomes a for the culture, you know, political correspondent. That's very interesting how people have space to grow and some people don't. But Joe Biden's tone was so dismissive. It was so dismissive. It was like, "What? You ain't Black?" Yeah, and
First of all,
my
before
wife.
he said that, first of all, y'all talking. First of all, who's ever in the sideline saying we got to go now? That's
Yep,
disrespectful.
yep, that
You
is,
watching
yep,
Black media,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
gonna drop
yeah,
a bomb on you right now.
yeah.
Although nobody said this, I'm dropping a bomb on you. He also had an appointment to be interviewed by Joy Reid from AM
Joy
Joy,
Ann Reid.
and he canceled on her. That's
What?
why people like, yes, honey. This I got that by a real good source, Amanda Seals. She tells the
What?
business. And he booked Joy Reid. I don't know the day,
Mm-hmm.
but it's around now, circa now. And he canceled on her probably after the Charlemagne thing and thought all
Right,
Blacks are the same.
right.
And he canceled on her after scheduling the interview.
Yeah.
But yet you went on Colbert for an hour and you gave Charlemagne 18 minutes and kept on saying loudly, whoever your person was, telling him it's time to go, interrupting it loudly, breaking his thoughts.
Right. I'm trying to think of, you know, Black politicians that will give Black media the time of day. You know what I mean?
It's not about
You know,
it's not about giving them time. They should be scared of you.
yeah.
You you need to take that time.
Right, right,
And
right.
they need to feel scared if they don't give it to you. We're gonna turn on them.
But there's absolutely no respect. You know what I mean? There's like, yeah, let me throw them a bone when, you know, I got to do some Black Lives Matter thing.
Mhm.
It's like that type of familiarity to be so dismissive and disregard is that you have been propped up and you have been that type of behavior has been validated by a Black person. I'm sorry.
And some Blacks, even Mark Lamont Hill, I read the whole article he did in the Root. I forgot which one it was. I was surprised at Mark Lamont Hill. I think a lot of people are trying to toe the line because of this year. Even Mark Lamont Hill, I was like, Mark, you let me down. You didn't just shoot this fool to the ground and keep it moving and slice his neck off and keep it moving.
Mm.
He tried to try to check him and then say, although yes, it's clear he was joking. No, it's not clear, bitch. Because he wasn't joking. And furthermore, if he was joking, that ain't a joke. So therefore you're not joking. Because
Yeah.
because you don't know me, you can't joke with me. It's like I say, bitch, I know you. I can say, hey, bitch, what's going on? I just can go around calling other women bitches leisurely because I'm a woman in there. I don't know what you're into. So even Black, I don't just run around saying, hey, my nigga. Like, I don't say that anyway, but I'm just saying,
Right.
we don't run around calling each other nigger because we use the word. Not all, but those of us who have and do sometimes. It's not just you just get a pass all the time. It's like, am I in the clique? So you're not up in here that comfortably to think you can even joke like that if you thought you were.
Mm-hmm,
The fact that you felt comfortable joking like that tells you just told on yourself, you racist, squarehead, bonehead,
I call him
blockhead,
Mr.
blockhead Joe.
Freaky and forgetful. And let's address one of the many elephants in the room.
Oh,
If you were a candidate and I were a candidate and we had a crackhead son,
oh.
okay? Let's keep it trill, not real. Let's keep it trill. If we
Ah.
had a crackhead son in which the whole United States and all the money went to prosecuting Trump over this crackhead son and his shenanigans, first of all, that wouldn't even be we couldn't even conceive that. And I'm like, nobody talks about the crackhead son, over addiction.
They tried to. There was a little groundswell for a hot minute during the primaries, in the early moments when they were doing this, doing their little debates.
Yeah,
they squashed that real good.
Yeah. I still sit back and I'm like, but your son's a crackhead, and everybody has, you know what I mean, and you're putting black men away for weed.
We can't be.
You're passing legislation or supporting it.
Their crackheads become presidents. Remember dumbass Bush that got a D+ in school?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we can't be dumb.
Right. Oh no.
Not to be there, and we can't be crackheads to be there.
Yeah. Have we become so? I mean, we are like
standard.
We are like an old funky ass man's wash rag after he wipes his ass after a nasty shit. That's how I feel like.
In a foxhole.
On a 110-degree day. Okay.
Right.
I was like,
with no mask and no social distancing.
Yeah. So let's move on. So Minneapolis is burning right now, or Minneapolis is afire. You and I, we've been through quite a few civil unrests.
Yes, girl.
Over the years. And is it worth it?
I don't like judging people's activism. I'm not one, I can't beat nobody, so I ain't marching in these streets. I get my hands kicked real quick. Or stomped. Well, no, I'm not gonna get stomped on 511. But so I'm not one to march. But I was okay with the Martin Luther King mentality, and I was okay with the Malcolm X mentality called by any means necessary. So I'm not going to trash and drag these Black people and those who are our allies who were out there trying to fight for our rights, because I know that the result of that, as of today, they arrested that cop and now they charged him today. Now, let me just make some things clear about what went down, because I like doing my research. I don't be playing those reindeer games. Okay, so, what the heck is this? Okay, so now the first thing I want to dispel is the myth that Black folks was all out and through there burning down stuff.
What y'all doing this for? They all look mighty white to me. Only white people doing this fucking shit, man.
The first order of business is Black folks were not burning down things. Evidence proves, and go out and do your research, don't go by me, that plainclothes, more than one, police officers and other white people actually set the initial fires. Drop that fact, boom, and were working as provocateurs to amplify the violence.
And there is the video that's going around. Right I'm going to embed the video in here so people will see. Yeah.
So that's number one. That is extremely important. Number two, I want to find my thing. Okay, here we go. So that's that. Number two, when it comes to these police officers who pretty much murdered George Floyd, which is why the marching is going on, people don't understand something. That was cold-blooded murder. Okay, it may not be first-degree murder, but it was second-degree murder. Let me contextualize it for you really quick. And people can always check my receipts. This ain't Lisa Durden at the barbecues. I don't talk loose. I talk what I know. Now, if you want to catch me loose, bring me some sweet bitch, and we'll be at the barbecues, and you can catch me talking loose. That's Sweet Bitch Merlot. That's the brand name. So, all law enforcements around the country train their officers in the academy, and they do subsequent training along the way on a protocol when they subdue a potential suspect, or i.e. criminal. So after, this is the protocol. So every police officer is taught, after you subdue a suspected criminal, and you put the person in handcuffs, and they are detained. If you did it, and they're standing, you're cool, go to the car. If you did it and you have to wrestle them to the ground a little bit, that happens sometimes. And then once you put the handcuffs on it, even if they're on the ground, the protocol is you must roll them over on their side to prevent what is called positional asphyxia, also known as postural asphyxia, which is when a person like George Floyd dies suddenly from that kind of restraint by the hands of law enforcement. Law enforcement could be police officers, people who work in jails, law enforcement. Okay? So that officer who implemented that positional asphyxia knew exactly what he did because he went against protocol. Once he had him on the ground, he should have turned him over to his left side and then taken him up. Okay? He knew full well that he was breaking protocol. He intentionally broke protocol. Therefore, he should be charged with no less than second-degree murder. That is the caveat. I could be the lawyer on this case. If I was the lawyer on this case, I would save this piece to do my final statement to the jury.
Well, now the autopsy came out and said that he actually died. He did not die because of asphyxiation. He died because he had pre-existing conditions. He had hypertension and all these other things.
Here's why that's not going to work. I did my research on that too. You know why that's a lie? Because when they finished killing him, there was no doctor on the scene to confirm if he was dead on the scene. So how do you know he wasn't dead on the scene other than his eyes rolled back in his head and he was dead? So there was no official person on the scene to determine his death on the scene. When you have coroners coming, they determine the death of the person. So you can play that game, but it's not going to work. Because if a doctor would have come on the scene, they would have said he's dead on the scene. He was not able to be revived. He was already dead. In fact, when the ambulance came, he still had his knee in his neck when the ambulance was there. And the workers, what do you call the people from the ambulance?
EMTs.
When the EMT got off the car and came, he still had his knee on his neck.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's not going to fly. It can't fly. It can't fly. I guess it can fly if it was white eyes that don't want to see a black face. So people can always make something what they want, but it just can't fly.
So this is talking specifically about the George Floyd murder, but
Mm-hmm.
on a grander kind of scale,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the social political
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere that currently is going on in Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
right. So back to that,
and we've been through.
Yeah.
We've lived through quite a few historical civil unrests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's not just there. They're doing it. What's happening is those rallies, I'm going to call them rallies. Mm-hmm. We're having rallies, peaceful protests.
Peaceful. Well, I mean, you don't see people bringing bazookas and rocket launchers and missiles and AR-15s.
They're having them in Minnesota. They're having them in New York as we speak right now on the news tomorrow. They're having them in some places around the country, not just Minnesota. So some other places around the country are angered by that. So back to the point. I'm not going to knock your activism because I have the attitude like this. If you don't want to know if I would shoot you in the head, don't touch me. And you won't know if I have a gun to shoot you in the head. Just leave me alone. Because you might hit the wrong person and get shot in the head. So I say, don't bother people and we all can get along. So I don't know the right thing to do, but I know what the wrong thing is to do. I don't know if that's going to be effective, but I'm not going to knock them. I'm not going to sit there and drag them for filth because they did what they did. Because you can't talk about the result of something and not look at what caused the result. The causation. If you're not looking at the causation, don't talk to me. Let's have a real conversation. Not you. Let's have a real conversation about the causation. Even if it's a bad causation, even if the ending was bad, tell me what. And see, I always tell my sister, she gets mad at me when people want to tell me. And I've been saying this not because I'm on your show, or your platform. I've been saying this to Daphne. Daphne, when people call me, even friends, when they call me about stuff at the job, hey girl, I want to talk about my job. I'm mad at my boss, girl, because look what had happened was, I tell them real quick, if this story includes your fingernails being dirty, I'm the wrong one to talk to because you're not going to be happy with this phone call. Make sure when you tell me your story that I can have some compassion for you when you got screwed over. But anywhere in that timeline, if your fingernails are dirty, this conversation is going to be tight as hell. This conversation is going to make you sweat. This conversation is going to make you hang up. So why don't you just hang up now and call a friend that likes to have their head up your ass? So I said all that to say, you can't tell me about people rioting, that's your words, when you cause them to be angry. Your fingernails are dirty. So that's all I'm trying to say.
So, and maybe this is something that we could talk about next week because I'm really enjoying these weekly check-ins. But we got all the time. I'm really interested in I will say this, the LA civil unrest started on my best friend's street. And and she was on the porch telling me blow by blow because some of the guys that started it, we went to high school with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I hope my mother's not listening, but one of the guys I kissed, Damian Football Williams,
I take it Damian played football?
No, he did not. He was just a thickums like that. But
oh, you stupid. Okay.
He was a banger. That's what he was. He was a banger. But no, so it and then all the the Fergusons.
Yeah.
I'm really interested, and this is something that I'm still kind of thinking about, is like, what do we need to do to move things forward and it be lasting or more effective?
So we have to do things in tandem. We have to be ambidextrous, right? So we need to start voting out the people that won't work in our interest, because there's policies, there's laws and all this other stuff that's going to affect these things. And it's going to take time, right, to turn these things over. So at the same time we're doing that, so the more people that care about our interests will get rid of these racist police departments and those kind of things. So at the same time as we're doing that, we need to be able to also, I didn't mention this, try to find people we're going to run. You got to take people from your community and run them for the offices that you want them to be in, school board, local elections, and say, this is our candidate, and y'all gonna have these meetings, fry that chicken up, getting that church, barbecues, coffee clatches, and you have your candidate and pile up on that person and put them in there. No longer are you sitting here waiting for bread. You can't wait for, you got to bake the bread. You got to knead the dough and bake the bread. You don't give me fish, teach me how to fish. So what, the only way to do this is to what? Be the owner. We talk about being the owner. Be the owner of the politics in your world. You can own the politics. So if I can own a house, if I can own a business, I can own my politics. So when you don't have my politics, you're out. I'm going to put someone in there I want, and you have a collective that gets that done. Now, this is all talk. I might be dead by the time it's done, but at least we're having these conversations, and little factions of people will start to do it. Maybe I'll live till 90 and I'll see it. My father lived long enough to see a black president. He never thought he would. He started crying. So maybe I'll see it. But these are some of the things we can do in tandem, ambidextrous, in tandem with each other. Get rid of these politicians. Don't vote for them. At the same time, you own your politics and try to look for people that you admire, because there's no qualification to be the president other than to be the age and be an American citizen. You don't have to have a degree. I mean, a lot of our presidents were lawyers, but that's not a requirement. Or even local. The most important thing is local elections. So
You're right. You're definitely right.
I mean,
So,
I would say something dumb like, "Oh, go to college." Well, I did that. I'm still poor, so I'm not gonna say nothing dumb like that.
we have
And
a
I
lot
don't
to
mean,
talk about because we totally need to tackle and talk
yeah,
about education sooner
yeah,
than later because
yeah,
education is totally changed
yeah. Of course,
with coronavirus.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um, so since this is a weekly check-in and I respect your time, I respect what you bring to the table. There's one more topic, and
Oh,
I want to know, what do you see will be some of the biggest changes in a post COVID-19 world?
well, it could be good and bad. So let me go with the good. I think certain workers who were able to still keep their jobs because the job that they do, the work that they were able to do at a high level from home. A lot of companies now are going to be rethinking, do you need to be in the office? And they're going to start paring down. And that's going to work for you. No travel, these expenses are going to be gone. So that can, I think a lot of that's going to be happening. A lot of companies are rethinking that. I mean, so of course, certain essential workers have to physically be there. So a lot of fields you can work from home. And but I want to caution you, if because I think Google's thinking about it. I think it was like Facebook or somebody else was saying they're gonna let people work from home or whatever. If you work for Google and they say y'all can work from home now, also ask for a stipend because you pay the rent there. It's your lights. Get a stipend for your home-based office. So that's going to happen. I think that we're going to be able to see where we have to get back together, where kids have to go back to school, high school, grammar school, colleges, that it's going to change the game in terms of how we go back, at least in the short run. It won't last forever. They're going to have to double up the classroom. So if you had 3 sessions of let's say you offer the students sections of, let's say, oral communications, you might have to have 10 sections because you need less students in the classroom. So it may create jobs in some areas because you can't have 4 sections anymore because you can't put 40 students in that room. It can't happen. So it may create jobs in that area, and you might lose jobs in others. It's going to make us think about our surroundings. Will I forever be as diligent with every cloth and all the stuff? But no, but I'm probably never going to be not diligent at all. So I think it's going to change that. In terms of the economy, there will be people that will not recover and they have to reset. You're going to have some industries like the restaurant industry. Some restaurants will just close down for good and can't open back up again. You're going to have some people that in those kinds of jobs, they can't get the job back again. And you just have to reset. It will be no different than, when we had the 1940 something.
The Depression in the 1930s. Yeah.
30s.
The Great Depression.
So, yeah. So you'll have a little bit of all that. And I think that's just going to be what it is. For me, it worked for me. Not Corona, but working from home worked for me. Going on Zoom worked for me. My old ass was going to school with that book bag, bang, 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 up and down the stairs, and ain't no elevator on the train, and getting home at 9 o'clock at night, leaving class at 9 o'clock at night, getting home by 11, I popped this computer on, girl, I was editing. I was a beast. I got a 4.0, by the way, and bam.
All right, congratulations. Yeah, I there were just
me.
Right, and there were just some things in terms of education that K through 12 and even in higher education had been fighting for in terms of smaller classrooms.
The digital divide showed itself, didn't it?
Right. Oh my goodness. Just crazy, right? There were some school districts that had to actually just stop working online because people didn't have access or people didn't have technology. I can be totally honest. There was somebody that I know who had to share the mother and the 3 children all had to share one laptop.
Ooh, Jesus.
Right. So, I mean, the digital divide, of course, is totally connected to the economic divide. Mm-hmm. So, with the silver lining, and let me say this, I'm such a suspect when it comes to when school districts gives you free laptops, because I don't remember that story, but they actually had like a lot of the spyware connected to it, and they were like listening and looking, seeing what the students do. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
But the silver lining though is like smaller classrooms is something that the education has been fighting for a very long time. It is just you cannot teach a certain amount of children, and just something very simple. I'm laughing, but it's laughing for sad. It's just better hygiene.
Yeah, we're not gonna ever be the same again. You'll get some idiots because some idiots leave the house now and act crazy. But I think the bulk of us are gonna be like, oh, let me get my wipes. And again, I'm not gonna be as crazy with the wipes in a year when we may have some medication and but I'm gonna always think about it. It's gonna be at top of mind. Yeah, we're gonna be a little bit cleaner. And listen, there's talk about just totally making the handshake out of style. Boom, bam, don't shake my hand, boo.
Yes. So we are going to be talking more. I really do appreciate this. I'm going to call this weekly check-in with Lisa Durden.
Okay. Yes. My segment on the platform.
Yes, I really do appreciate this.
Yeah, that'd be great.